Command, this is Hot Dog 69. We've got possibly one PID military age target. Looks like it's approaching the convoy. He's got comms up. Yeah, he's got a phone. That's a positive ID. There ain't no doubt, that's him. Man, this Hot Dog 69. We're requesting permission to take a shot. Hot Dog 69 is going to engage.
God, I hope it's not a Sam Squanch.
That's the biggest damn sand squanch I've ever seen. It's the biggest damn Sam Squanch I've ever seen.
It's the biggest damn Sam Squanch I've ever seen. Listen, Cody Curry here. Guys, this is 110 SAS Actual, and welcome back to easily the world's greatest BS tier gun tube channel, this side of the Mississippi. Guys, it's an honor to be in your presence and invading your screens while you are in the room that made Elvis famous, fighting for your lives. Legs turning into TV static. Remember, just lean to one side, give some time for this one to get some blood flow in it, and so on and so forth. Repeat as necessary. You will make it out of this alive, King. JDs and Letterman, Hosses and Hossets. We are joined here today by our guest host, the long, tan, and breathtakingly handsome Mk13 Mod 5. Baby, we are talking 26 inches of pure muscle. 300 Winchester Magnum. We got 25 zooms of Schmidt-Bender optic, kissed with RAL 8K paint, deliciously dimpled Knight's Armament Mark 11 gate latch obtanium long boy can, and dropped into one of the most attractive rifle chassis of all time. All the tactical drip of JDs and Letterman, powered by one of the most beloved boomer cartridges of all time next to the 30-06 and the 45 AARP. Brother, boomers have never been so conflicted and aroused at the same time. On one hand, you have a long-action Magnum cartridge boomers grew up with, and on the other, you've got all this tactical gizmos and drip, sonny. So, friends, let's talk about it. Picture this. The year, it's 2001. We don't know it yet, but we're about to go on a 20-year raid party out in the sandbox. Brother, generational and perpetual warfare games. That's what's up. WMDs? Nah. Oil and poppy fields, baby. It's like Duncan. The world runs on it. So, what do we need in order to most effectively secure our best interests in that beloved dinosaur go-go juice? A freaking long-action Magnum sniper rifle, baby. Woohoo! But how do we execute such a difficult task? Well, you hit up the old American apple pie kind of manufacturer, Remington. Buy a bunch of 700 series action, screw in a neat 27-inch barrel into the action, and drop it all into a Macmillan A2 stock, and boom, we have the Mk13 Mod 0. Now, and I'm telling you, troops caught on real quick. They quickly discovered that 190 grains of Sierra Match King 30 caliber bullet traveling just under 3,000 feet per second was, well, pretty daggone devastating to that unfortunate old boy on the receiving end. Now, keep in mind, 308 was the standard sniper rifle cartridge at the time, and while it's definitely a pretty effective and capable round, it absolutely ain't got the smoke old granddad Mk13 was dealing out. Now, the Navy was primarily using these new Mk13 Mod 0 rifles. They were getting absurd body counts with them. Reports of bang flops were just flying in. That's one shot and old boy just pops over. Most of which coming from a Navy SEAL sniper by the name of Chris Kyle. I bet you've heard of him, right? Now, it's officially reported that he has over 100 bodies on the weapon system, most of which were done with the Mk13. However, some constructive criticism was on the way back to the high brass. They said, and I quote, "Waterproof that chicken and give it kazoo, bingo bango bongo, we got the Mk13 Mod 5. So what snipers really wanted out of this platform was they wanted the same heavy-hitting 300 Win Mag cartridge, but a little bit more modular chassis system, something that can fold up and cut its big brown best kind of musket-sized length into a package that's much easier transported from a vehicle to their overwatch position. They also said, yo, hearing is pretty cool, along with signature reduction. They said the current Mark 13s with no muzzle device are making our ears bleed and breathe a little bit of fire from the muzzle. If you're in an overwatch position as a force multiplier, muzzle flash, guys, it is not ideal whatsoever. And while they were at it, they said, hey, we want to be able to put a clip-on night vision device on this thing too, because apparently being able to see in the dark is some sort of superpower. Who thought? So the brass went to testing, and out comes what we have here today for you kings, the Mark 13 Mod 5. And brother, their prayers were answered. First, let's just talk about how freaking hot this gun. First, this gun is a true deployment kit Mark 13. Yes, you see all that writing on the side right there? That's because some DevGru hitter drew his dope card on the side of that rifle. Tell me that's not sweet. This gun, we don't know what it's seen, but what we do know is at some point in time, it went over the sandbox with a DevGru hitter. That's a huge deal, and it's a legitimate honor to actually hold a gun that was used as a war weapon. I mean, it doesn't matter what year it's from. It could be from 1943, 1911, or 2007. Holding the gun of one of America's greatest warriors is just, I mean, that's something special. And we got to shoot it. I mean, seriously, it's a legitimate modern art masterpiece. Maybe it's me, maybe it's Maybelline, but when I think of a sniper rifle, the absolute first image that just pops right into my mind is the Mark 13 Mod 5. It's just so dang perfect looking. The huge can on the end, simple but also super modular chassis, adjustable cheek riser, Badger, nods mount, stainless steel Elijah barrel. It's just pure fire, boys. It's just absolutely iconic. And brother, it has a steep body countdown range. But let's talk about the specifics here. They wanted to continue to utilize the Remington 700 action. It's a strong, durable, and just reliable, rugged action. It's also much cheaper than a custom action, and parts availability has zero shortage. Now for the barrel, a company called Elijah was contracted. They were fairly well established at the time as a company, but they weren't exactly established in the military industrial complex world and all those contracts. But since 1985, guys, they had been making premier barrels for bench rest shooters and high precision match shooting. So you can see how high precision match shooting translates over to high precision target shooting, maybe humans. But what's pretty interesting is how this barrel works with the can. Now, suppressor technology wasn't primitive at this time by any means, but it definitely wasn't where it's at today. A little company called Knight's Armament, probably heard of those guys, right? Was at the forefront of technology and suppressor technology for military use. Their NT4 had been wildly successful at this point and proving to be an extremely durable and effective at signature reduction kind of option. But that was for the M4s. Their flagship was the Mark 11. Guys, an SR-25, a 20-inch semi-auto chambered in 7.62 NATO. And it utilized, which at the time was a pretty revolutionary new mounting system, a gate latch clamp over the gas block. Now, the military had already had quite a few Mark 11s in stock, in inventory, and also seen combat downrange in the same theater as the Mark 13. So they decided to utilize what they already had in stock and ready to go. Manufacturing the Mark 11 cans was already in full swing, so it made a ton of sense to utilize this platform. So on the Elijah barrel, what they did, guys, was mill out index slots for that gate latch to close. And just like the Mark 11, the muzzle indexes off the suppressor. Now let's move to that chassis system. The new Accuracy International rig, it was actually already really well proven at this time, especially over in Europe. And it was probably some of the highest tech out there for a sniper system. It had a thumbhole pistol grip, making it much more similar to the M4s, and the troops, they liked that. The buttstock also folded up to help keep overall length to a minimum while traveling and moving with it. Getting in and out of cars with a giant brown best musket, and it's not very ideal. Now, there were a few different rail systems used on the Mark 13 Mod 5s, all of which to utilize some sort of laser rangefinder, IR laser aiming modules, clip-on night vision, clip-on thermals devices, and well, whatever the operator wanted to use on a Picatinny mounting system. There was the Mears rail, there was the Mars rail, which were pretty much identical except for the offset pick rails. But here's the thing, the troops, they were reporting lots of issue with these Mears and Mars rails. Point of impact shift was the biggest troublemaker for them. The problem was they were mounted to the receiver, and the additional length and the extra few pounds of the night vision device on and off, and just the general rigors of compact and getting bumped around and banged on everything, they were pretty quickly abandoned for something like a stock mounted rail system like we have here, the Badger mount. It's a phenomenal and just minimalist piece. You know, there's not a ton of extra added weight where it doesn't need to be. Picatinny rail slots where you will never utilize them. It's really just a phenomenal and minimalist kind of piece. And really, just like everything Badger makes, I really can't recommend their stuff enough. Now, as far as optics go, they definitely varied throughout the war for the Mk13 Mod 5. It was ultimately really up to the units and the teams and how they made their purchases. However, the actual end user, the sniper, had a lot of say in it as well. Leupold, Nightforce, Schmidt-Bender were some of the most common seen optics on the Mk13. And what you see here is the 5-25 PM2. This is exactly how it's going to be set up for a DevGru operator. I found it is a perfect match for the gun and really complements the 300 Win Mag's fullest performance. It's a 1300 yard gun, easy. 25 power, that's pretty nice. Now, we know a lot about the gun now, but guys, how does it shoot? Lord have mercy. So let's be real. A 300 Win Mag isn't exactly a soft shooting gun. Guys, 190 grains of 30 caliber bullet flying out of that muzzle around 2,900 feet per second. That's some serious business. That exact round has taken every single one of the big 5 dangerous game animals. Yes, it's literally taken elephants. Now, is that the ideal cartridge for old Dumbo? No, absolutely not, but it can be done and it has done it. So when you're talking a little 150-pound soft-skinned human, bro, forget about it. The odds of you getting up and walking away after getting slugged by one of those within 1,000 yards, it's pretty slim. Now, with great power comes great recoil, but it was absolutely shocking. Guys, it was shocking how soft shooting the Mk13 Mod 5 actually is. First, you have the cannon, which is definitely going to cut recoil significantly over a bare muzzle. But the fact that the weapon system weighs almost 20 pounds, that's a huge factor. I would say, legitimately, this gun has this very similar recoil to a 6.5 Creedmoor hunting gun. It's extremely manageable. Now, let's talk about the sound. I was absolutely blown away. Guys, we're shooting this thing indoors in like a small enclosure. It's actually an old chicken coop from like the 1940s at my farm. Like, here's a massive long action Magnum cartridge with an effective range of easily a mile, exploding like a foot from my face. And brother, it sounds like any old 308. I feel like 30 cal just in general suppresses very well, but I was definitely expecting to be louder than any of my large frame gassers because of that just huge and extra powder explosion right in front of my face. But nah, I'll tell you the truth, because I think it's a bolt gun. So the chamber stays shut during that mini explosion, paired with the fact that you don't have that noisy action, that big mechanical kerchunk and shuffle of the action. I would genuinely say, to my ear, the 300 Win Mag in this setup is absolutely more quiet than any large frame gasser I've shot. And the gun, it's just so much dang fun. And it's so awesome to actually get to enjoy a genuinely in-country used deployed Mk13. So I want to give a massive shout out to the homies Kieran from Tier 1 Outfitters for bringing this thing out to the 110 SAS range and let me play around with it, and to Lee from Stumpy's Custom Guns in North Carolina for dialing this thing in. So gentlemen, we have a wrap on the Mk13 Mod 5. As always, guys, I genuinely appreciate you guys tuning in here and supporting this channel. It's grown so much, you guys liking and sharing. It's just, it feels so great to actually do something. You guys, you guys just enjoy it, and I get to be my same goofy self, So I'm gonna leave you with that. Kings, remember to always run your gun and not your mouth, and we will catch you next time.